Hello guys, welcome back to Out There Gamer. My name is Bernie and today I'm going to be talking about Star Ocean First Departure on the PSP. And this is a game that I have really mixed up feelings about it. I have to be honest, and I thought, I don't like to do negative reviews about games, If there's a game that I completely didn't like it, I just don't talk about it. But this is a game that I have mixed up feelings about it. Like there's some things that I definitely don't like how the game approaches, but there are also things that I think the game has really cool, stuff about it. But I have to be honest, this is probably the least favorite RPG I've played in a while. I have to be honest, even though most of the RPGs I've played are really high praise stuff, it's not like I've played very obscure RPGs or whatsoever, but you know, this game was kind of underwhelming in some ways, but I have to be honest, there's still some stuff in this game that I truly enjoy it. So let's talk about the premise of Star Ocean games, and I think that's the best thing about Star Ocean itself. It's being able to recruit new party members, and the way this game works out is you have like one main objective, and between reaching that main objective you may encounter or you may not some people, depending what kind of conversations and what depending what kind of party members you already have, you can recruit party members. So, and this is what makes this game so unique. So you basically, whenever sometimes you reach a town, you may find a certain type of character that you could convince them to join your party, and that character becomes a part of your story whatsoever. But I think this overall idea it's great. Like, don't take me wrong, I think this whole concept is amazing, but it's kind of true too ambitious in a way, because the problem with that is the story feels somehow very simplified because somehow they have to shove it all those characters into the story, and the story have to make sense. So what they did, they basically simplified the story. And I think that this game, if you took all the characters that you've met through your journey, I think the story would be the same, because I don't think these characters don't have any kind of impact to the main story whatsoever, unfortunately. So that's kind of the price to pay when you wanted to have this kind of freedom to the player to have which party members they would choose through their journey or not. And that's kind of the problem with this game. um, but I still think the stories behind these characters you've met through your journey are really interesting, and I think a lot of side stuff that involves actually learning more about these characters' side stories, they are definitely very interesting, and I think it's one of the highest points about this game. So I have to say, I personally thought, this whole idea and concept was awesome, but this is not like one of my biggest complaints about the game. My biggest complaints about the game, it's the lack of a proper tutorial mode. Like, the game doesn't explain anything to the player, and when I mean anything, I mean anything at all. And I'm not sure if the manual of the game actually tells you anything, because I don't have the manual of the game. Heck, I don't even know if the game actually has a manual to begin with. But, you know, in the game itself, there's no explanation whatsoever about the battle system, the mechanics, the job systems, and how you can, and these things called the private actions, which I will explain what they are. So it's really confusing, because you start playing this game, you feel like, there's so much things you can learn about this game, but the game doesn't explain to you. So um making your view to this game, like making, probably for people who don't use a guide or who don't go research on the internet, they're gonna feel like underwhelmed by, you know not knowing what these things do or what they are. So it's really strange that the game doesn't explain nothing to the player. And that's probably one of the worst things about this game. The battle system itself, I don't think it needs any kind of explanation. It's very simplistic and maybe too much. And I think it's probably, I have to say, the battle system was really, really mashy. Like, you just mash buttons and win battles. Like, even on boss battles, like, there's nothing really much to it. Like, there's not like a lot of strategies whatsoever. It's pretty basic battle system. It's just an action type of RPG. So, it's very Tales like. In some ways, I feel like this game, tried to be like the Tales games of Square Enix Tales games, but I still think Tales games are a little bit superior than this thing, to be honest, unfortunately. But this is a game I try to like it. Another thing that I don't, the game doesn't explain at all, it's the private action. So sometimes when you go to a town, um, the game appears this text saying private action, and you press square. When you press square on these private actions, something might happen related to your characters, and this is where you started to learn about your characters you recruit in your party members and whatnot. And this is actually very interesting because you actually know more about their personalities whatsoever. But this is the thing, the private actions never, even though the game tells you there's a private action in this specific area, they don't always happen because sometimes you don't have a certain party member in your team. It means that that private action it's not going to happen, even though the game says there's a private action in this moment. It doesn't happen at all. And these private actions, they are kind of like skits, from for people who play Tales games. It's very similar to the skits where you have these goofy moments between your characters. And I have to say, and this is probably one of the best things about the game, the character, the roster. It's a very lovely roster of characters, and I really like them. Even the characters you've met through your journey, they're all amazing characters. But unfortunately, sometimes this game has a lot of missable events. So you know, and depending what kind of playthrough you are doing, sometimes you can learn more, or sometimes you can just completely miss it, the whole story about that character itself. So it's kind of a shame. There's a lot of missable things about this game. Like you can miss a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool events about this game, and you know and that's something that I might recommend people to do when they do like the first playthrough. After doing the first playthrough, like on the second one, just use a guide, like to play this game because you're definitely gonna have a better time, I think, because you're gonna first of all you're gonna be like more, and that's why I'm still gonna play Star Ocean 2. It's because I feel like now I know how the game works. I think I'm gonna enjoy much more than the first one. And yeah, and this is one of the things. Like private actions, I think it was a very interesting idea, but like I said, you're gonna probably gonna from the first playthrough you're gonna miss a lot of events unless you are super, you know, aware of things. I'm sure you're gonna miss a lot of events on this game. Another very confusing thing that the game doesn't explain, it's a job system. So basically, one of the things it's this game allows the player to learn abilities for each character. For example, you can learn abilities to craft new weapons by mixing up some weapons and make even stronger weapons. And in order to learn these abilities, you have to buy books. These are books you can buy those on towns. So whenever you go to a shop in a town, you can buy those books, and whenever you buy these books, you can learn those abilities, and basically in order to level up these abilities, you have to fight. Whenever you fight, you earn the skill points. So the skill points can be used to improve your special skills and And this is where the game gets weird because while the game lets you spend all your skill points in certain characters, doesn't mean that character is able to learn that ability. What I mean with this, it's there was a character in this game which I've made him learn music because this is one of the abilities you can learn music, and this is a really cool ability because when you learn music, you can, for example, play a song to double your experience points, or play a song to call very strong enemies, and you can like earn a bunch of experience by fighting them. So this is a really cool ability to actually to learn. And I actually spent a whole bunch of points just to make this character learn this music points, this ability. But the problem was this character wasn't able to create songs. And I was like, this is fucking weird because I have everything maxed out and this character should be able to play music. And that's the thing. Not every character can learn the ability itself. And this is really weird because the game, even though the game lets you spend recklessly the skill points, there's characters you can't really learn the abilities. So it's really really strange, and I don't know why they do that. It's so stupid, and and one of the things you guys have to notice, this is a 20 hours game, so you don't actually have a lot of time to actually earn the skill points. Like, there's not really a lot of dungeons to explore, a lot of enemies to battle, to be honest. Even though this game has like a very high rate of battles, like it's super annoying. And I've counted, it's like you do like 10 steps, you get like an enemy. It's that type of games that have like a huge amounts of enemies like appearing all the time. That's really kind of annoying in a way. But yeah, but like I said, you don't have like a lot of opportunities to level up and earn a lot of skill points. So it's kind of like once you screwed, you probably screwed, unless you replay the game, you are kind of screwed on that one. And this is something that I all realized after I beat the game, and I was like reading like a guide for the game, and this guide had like a spreadsheet explaining like what kind of abilities a character could learn and what kind of abilities a character would never be able to successfully do it. And that's kind of weird game design in my perspective, and that was one of the weird things about this game. But like I said, I'm still looking forward to play 2 because right now I'm more comfortable about the mechanics, and then I know how to play the game, and that's probably why I don't think I enjoy this game so much, because I felt like a lot of things in this game are not explained at all, and I think the game had a lot of potential in terms of mechanics and had a lot of great fresh ideas. It's just the execution, it's not there. But I still think it's a worth game to play because, like I said, it's not a long game, it's a 20-hour game, so it's not like you are wasting a lot of time in this game. Even though I think it's a very repetitive game, and it's not like the most amusing story whatsoever, but I still think the mechanics of the games are somehow fun, I guess. And the characters you've met and the characters that are already in your party are extremely awesome, and I really like them. Um, and I think that's all I have to say about the game. It's a game that, I have really mixed up feelings about it, and but I still hope that there's someone out there that will still have the time of their life playing this game because this is just an opinion, it doesn't mean that you will probably not like the game, but I just wish this game did some things differently, to be honest. But I think that's all I have to say about Star Ocean First Departure. I hope you guys liked this video. Again, thank you for watching and see you guys next time.